going on, jammers? How you doing? Sorry to be all inundated while we trying to holler at y'all. We back into the book called For Better and Forever. A resource for couples preparing for Christian marriage. The Roman Catholic edition by Robert A. Ruchni. C.ss.r.minister. Okay, so we're in chapter 8. And chapter 9, you said?
Yes, we're doing chapters 8 and chapters 9.
Okay, so chapter 8 is...
Money matters and career planning.
Chapter 9 is marital communication.
Okay.
Alright, so pardon me, I'm a little under the weather, so my voice might sound a little scraggly. But who gives a fuck, right? Okay, look, money matters and career planning, chapter 8. I'm just gonna go ahead and start it off and get it popping. Cool?
Okay, honey, go ahead.
Cool. Money rarely determines the process of falling in love. People who are in love tend to avoid discussions about money, perhaps because it seems terribly unromantic. Not only do I think that people are trained when it comes to money to keeping to themselves, especially men. Men feel as though that money is a status quo in society, so they tend to not talk to their spouse about it because they always want their spouse to know, I got it. And that's just a man's nature. Is that smart? Is that right? Who knows? I guess each relationship varies, but let's just continue. Money may not seem like a critical topic while dating. However, the whole business of money and who is in charge of the finances becomes a critical part of marriage. Money equals power and control. When money matters are managed well, both partners feel more equal to each other and have more trust in each other. When money matters are handled poorly, one person usually feels that he or she is being treated like a child, whereas the other person usually feels like an overburdened parent. The result is that each of them has less trust in the other. It is not the amount of money and debt that is critical. Even financial security is no guarantee that a marriage will succeed. In other words, just because you got money, it don't mean your marriage is gonna go good. You dig? More important than the amount of money and debt is how the couple shares the benefits and the responsibilities of family financial matters. This is big stuff right here. This is the kind of stuff that breaks up friendships, it breaks up marriages, it breaks up family. Money issues. Everybody wants money. Everybody wants dough. Everybody wants, I gotta get this out the shop. Everybody wants money. Everybody, gets mad at their financial situation if they're carrying most of the load. So this is very important, baby. Why don't you take financial planning and I'll start.
So jammers, I'm a little under the weather myself. A lot of congestion, so pardon me. Okay, so a successful plan for managing finances will differ from couple to couple because of the many different needs that each couple will be dealing with. A successful financial plan will fit the different personalities of each couple. Most couples will find that a joint bank account best suits their needs. Some couples will find that having separate accounts is best. Some couples will determine that one of them will manage finances for the two of them. Other couples will plan to make all important financial decisions together. The best plan is one that helps both partners trust each other in money matters and allows each to feel adequately involved in the financial decisions of the family. Is there still more?
No, this is called supporting our family.
So I agree with that last thing that I read. Some couples work better working together. Some work better managing their own finances. But I think in a marriage, when you know what each other have together, you work better because you know what you're working with. You know what I mean, honey? So I just feel like it's up to you guys, like how you guys work best handling finances.
I think it varies. I think when couples can be transparent, they're planning for forever. I think that when you're not really planning for forever and you're looking at this motherfucker from the side view, like, you're not really what dreaming. That's what I found out in previous relationships, not to bring no, but that's what I found out in previous relationships, that one of the other persons in this particular relationship, you really aren't the person that they want to spend the rest of their lives with. And it becomes, how am I going to break you down and make you leave me? How am I going to break you down to the point to where I make you get away from me? So, you know, I look at each couple as it just being different. You know, each couple is different, but if you're planning on forever, then money matters and career planning is very important.
Yes, and working as a team too is the best.
Yeah, or you just slip it. You know, when you're someone in our position, you know, you have accountants, you have this, you have managers, you have advisors, you have these kind of things as well. So, you know, you can add those into your equations, determining, you know, what you do in this world. You could be a CEO of a major company, so that brings in another demographic. So there's a bunch of addendums and shit that go with certain positioning in life. But let's move on. So I'm gonna talk y'all to death. I want to get this in. Supporting our family. I'm gonna take this one.
Okay.
More than ever, couples are finding it necessary for both of them to work in order to support their family. Trying to balance the responsibilities of marriage and the financial needs of the family is not easy. Basically, when both people in the relationship are working, brings in more money, makes things a lot more comfortable, things are more doable. For example, Greg the mechanic and Nancy the nurse married one lovely spring evening. It seemed like an ideal match. They had each put many years of effort into learning how to be very good at their occupations. Having made sacrifices to become successful, they assumed they would use the same skills to work at their marriage and someday raise a family. What they failed to think, though, however, was the amount of stress that work would cause their marriage. 6 months into their marriage, Greg got a promotion to a supervisory position that required him to spend extra hours nearly every day keeping up with the reports that had to be filled out every day. Within a year, Nancy got an opportunity to take a much better position at a different hospital that meant she had to spend more than an hour getting to and from work. So the pressure of living up to work demands gave them less and less time to pay attention to their marriage and each other. And over the next 2 years, things got ultimately worse. Their marriage ended in divorce after 3.5 years. In their final meeting with the lawyer, they admitted they never thought that they would allow the demands of work to get in the way of their love for one another. I don't know what you get from that.
What I get from that, Jammers, is that I understand work is very important to bring money in, but you always have to set some time for your loved one and focus also on your marriage, because if you neglect that, you become consumed in work and your relationship falls apart. So that's what I got from that. What did you get from that, honey? Pretty much what
It's like a different way of thinking. You know what I mean? I look at it like different walks of life. I can see how that would make sense for Greg and Nancy.
Right, that's what I was reading off of that.
You know what I'm saying? I could see how it relates to them as far as what I take from it, because I believe that these pamphlets are to help us work through certain situations and basically understand. This is even for younger couples. You know what I'm saying? This is for younger couples, mid-range couples, and even older couples. So I feel like this is going to be more for the younger couple who's finding and navigating their way through life. You know what I'm saying? But yes, it makes total and complete sense. Total and complete sense. You go ahead and take planning for children.
Planning for children. If you and your partner are both single persons, never married and not parents, who are both professional persons, give special thought to how your lives will need to change when you become parents. Parenting your children will require you to make significant changes in the way you have previously functioned as professionals. While continuing in your professions may be possible, you may decide it's best for your children that one of you become the stay-at-home parent. This may mean giving up your chosen profession while your children are growing up, or maybe there is a way to work at home and parent your children.
I mean, we see this in our own life. You know what I mean? So, like, I watched, you know, my significant other, Jessica. I watched her because, like, beforehand she was doing $1 billion deals with her architecture company, you know, and I wanted to make sure that she was willing to give up all of that, not progression, but accomplishments. If she was willing to give up all of those accomplishments, you know, to raise our son. crypto good, savings good, 401s good, stocks good. That wasn't the point. It was more of, was she willing to give up those accomplishments because she was steadily moving up the ladder? And, not to mention the modeling stuff, J Cass, as y'all like to call her. You know what I'm saying? Jessica basically is, and I don't mean to speak like you're not here, but this is what I take from this pertaining to us. She wasn't just an architect, and she isn't just an architect. She's also a model. She get paid for that. She also does music and does shows. She get paid for that. Like when I met her, it was in the music field, and she was already doing her, getting good money per show, like real good money, like not no 1,000, 2,000, like real good money. So I'm like, okay, yeah, she rocking that stuff. So she put all of that to the side to raise our son. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's how that we see it in our relationship.
Right.
I stepped away, from touring, for about a year and a half while she was pregnant, and just made sure that, so
yes,
in both of our lives, we've been able to do that in any particular instances. But when it comes to planning for a child, and if you got your shit together, just remember, you just gotta have your shit together, and you gotta weigh out, okay, what the fuck is daycare gonna cost us? How much? Excuse me, honey.
No, I'm congested too.
How much am I gonna make a year? And how much am I paying for, and just weigh it out. Okay, do it make sense? And then you weigh out the time of the precious time that you get with your child, the rearing your child into the right direction. And daycares, they motherfuckers get sick, it's boogers everywhere and snot everywhere and nasty ass kids and shit, and daycare workers that really, really don't give a fuck.
That's very true.
But anyway, yeah, so that's what I take from that. Okay.
Yes, indeed.
Now, we got questions for reflection and dialogue. Money matters and career planning. It tells us, take the time to do the following. Write a list of all financial value that you bring into the marriage. Write a listing of all your debts that will be likely to have a time of your marriage, student loans, car payments, credit cards. Write your plan for generating income this year and the next 5 years. Remember to include this plan on how pregnancy will affect the plan. Write your personal savings plan and the total savings you plan to bring into the marriage. List needs for what you think need to begin saving. Life insurance, buying a home, retirement, education for your children, care for aging parents, etc. I mean, shit, I feel like we fucking light years ahead of this.
That's what I was about to say. I was like, we've already done this.
But that's cool though, but this is not just for us.
Right.
This is for motherfuckers that's out there,
right,
that's listening to this shit right now, and people that are involved into the church and things of that nature. So everything that was just said is something we've discussed years ago.
Right.
And definitely apply that shit, because when you guys can talk about money, it just make that's your partner. That's your road dog.
Makes it easier.
Yeah, that's your roadie. You know what I'm saying? We could talk about guap and nobody feel funny about the shit. You know what I'm saying? That's a big step in a relationship, is the war chest, is the treasure chest, is the riches. You dig? So don't take step 2, boo.
Yeah, step 2, reflection questions for examining your attitudes and assumptions about money. In answering these questions, be conscious of what you really think and believe. Even if you are aware that your partner has some different thoughts, the goal is this step, is to know where you really stand as a starting point for dialogue and planning with your partner. So we have how many questions? Ooh, there's a lot of questions, Jammers. We're going to have to answer these.
Okay, we'll go through these.
And fast forward this. Oh, Lord. You see this? This is probably the only chapter we're going to get to today.
No, okay.
Do you see it, how long it is?
Sure do.
Which we've already covered a lot of this.
Okay, let's get to work. Shit.
All right, Jammers, we're going to do the workbook, and we'll come
fast
right back
this
to
shit.
you. Yes, indeed.
I'm sorry, but none of this is us.
I know. I'm like, we've already done all this. I feel
But
like
it's just good to go through the exercise.
Yes.
Ain't gonna do nothing but make it strong.
I feel like this chapter is for people who are just starting off. See, Jammers, Busy and I have talked about this in the very beginning of our relationship, which I'm glad we did because we're like a step ahead.
I'm done.
You're done?
You still got more to go?
Wait, how
Take your
many?
time.
Oh, I'm almost done. Almost done. Hold on.
I'll be back, Jammers, while she finishes. You're so ass.
I know, because I gotta think things through, you know? I'm like trying to write complete sentences. Okay, I'm done now.
Okay, let's get to step 3.
Okay.
Step 3, creating an effective financial plan. 1, share all of the information from step 1 and step 2 with your partner. Listen carefully to his or her sharing the same information. Your attitudes about money and financial planning are even more important, the amount of your income and debts, if you have any.
Right.
An effective financial plan will take into account that, for example, one of you is a saver and the other is a spender. Or that one of you grew up in a family with lots of money and the other grew up in a family that always struggled to pay for even the basic needs. Consider meeting with a financial advisor, a more experienced third party qualified to advise you in financial matters. This may be especially valuable if the two of you have different ideas about managing your finances. An effective financial plan will help each of you feel equally responsible for the family finances and will take into account future needs and emergencies. Develop together a budget of income, expenses, debts, savings for the first fiscal year of your marriage, including all sources of income and all expenses in this budget. It will ensure a better feeling of shared power and shared resources. What is left out of the budget is likely to be a source of suspicion and a feeling of loss of power by someone. Making sure you include fun stuff, recreation and vacations in your budget. And speaking of fun stuff, have you made a financial plan for your wedding and honeymoon? You might prefer to spend now and worry about paying for these things later. But wedding and honeymoon debts can add additional stress to the early months of marriage, when most couples discover that adjusting to marriage is not as easy as they thought it would be. View this budget as a working document. So basically what they're saying through all of this right now, as I'm skimming through everything, this is basically to cut through the chase, because I don't want to bore you guys out and take y'all to school. This is basically being transparent about your finances is what they're trying to teach us. To be transparent about how you spend, to help you work through it, to make sure that you're being communicative with your respectful significant other, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your fiance, your husband, your wife, your spouse, etc., etc. So that's how I see all of this. And they tell you to plan for difficulties ahead. Set an emergency budget. Mm-hmm. And then they give you a list of steps to go through just so you can be communicative with the other person, because your thoughts are going to be a little different than the person next to you's thoughts. So this opens up and bridges the gap between that. But I will read this final thought. There are many reasons why most parents seem to be too busy to spend time with their children. It goes off into spending time with children, and even less time with their spouse. Financial concerns and work responsibilities tend to make demands that are exceedingly different to get a hold of someone, so they do not become the main focus of our lives. For most couples, it will take a great deal of effort and ongoing conversations about the relationship of money, jobs, and family life. The irony is that most adults spend their final years of life wishing that they had spent less time working and more time with their children and spouse. Is there a way to learn this lesson at the beginning of marriage? And it gives you 3 months into marriage, 6 months into marriage.
Which we'll do that once we're finally married.
Now, marital communication. What this basically is telling us from part 1, it's communication and romantic love. Is communication important? Definitely. Part 2 tells you disillusionment and the end of romance. when romance just stops. It could be anything. I guess when they say the end of disillusionment is the allure of love, you know, I think that may be for people that don't understand what love really, really is, and what attraction really, really is, and aren't communicative of, hey, quit wearing your fucking pajamas to bed, or make sure you take a shower. You know, little shit like that that just gets someone in the mood. You dig? Mature loving. When romantic love dies, we are faced with an important decision. So that's what I believe that means, a healthy physical relationship as well. Effective dialogue is achieved by the use of 4 communication skills, so these people say. Well, not these people, this book says. And I think it can adjust with, I'm on page 73.
Yeah, that's where I'm on.
So I'd like for you, babe, to explain that.
The 4 skills?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, skill number 1, sharing. 2, listening. 3, acceptance. 4, risking further growth. And I think that's it.
So those are the 4 things that they suggest. Let's go through it one more time. The first one is sharing. The second one is listening. The third one is acceptance. And the 4th one is risking further growth. I think you should read the definition of risking further growth, because that one, right? I think everyone knows sharing, everyone knows listening, everyone knows acceptance, but not everybody knows risking further growth. What does that mean?
A love relationship in a lifelong progress, which can also grow if we are willing to risk sharing about the most challenging areas of our lives.
Yes. Sharing is the opposite of mind reading. Great point. Sharing feelings, listening, iMessages. So I guess right there they're really speaking about, how do you share? How do you give? How do you do it? How do you apply all these 4 skills, and what are the different ways that you're going to apply them? And they're giving all of the best examples that they possibly can give you. You and your spouse have maybe 1 or 2 different ways, I'd imagine, of how you share, how you care, and then how you break through caring more, sharing more. So, you know, I think it's always a work in progress, and it matures as you go along. Okay, so now, these are the questions for the reflection and dialogue. And this is the work. So, jammers.
We can answer these, babes, and then let the jammers go.
So jammers, we're going to go through all of this and we're going to do the work, but these are what we learned today for our couples out there. Every time that I'm out and whatever it is that I'm doing, I don't care if I'm going to the goddamn grocery store or, the grocery store or wherever it may be. Whenever somebody walks up on me and they with their girl or a girl with their dude, I always tell them, make sure you check out Jam TV, because it's for couples as well. It's for families. It's for single parents. It's for anybody that really, really just wants to take a real look in what truth and what someone living a real life and not what you may think is real. This is real. This is something that you can touch. This is something that you can understand. And this is people, Jessica and myself, that are willing to open up and willing to share with you intricate parts of not only our lives, but the lives of the people that are around us and the things that we do in order to sustain our relationship, to maintain love, to raise our child together and coexist in this kind of society without killing each other. So, you know, I hope you guys enjoyed this right here. I encourage everybody, don't live the facade that you see out there that's being put in front of you. Live your life, live a real life, live a strong life, live a healthy life. This is Jam TV, this is Busy Bone, this is Jay Kaz, and baby, take it away.
If you're not part of the family, jammers, remember, it's never too late. Smash that sub button along with that notification bell for further videos. And if you like this episode, make sure to give us a thumbs up. And thank you for tuning into Jam TV.
Cheers.